builders began work on more houses in February, and permits for future construction climbed to the highest level in almost 5 years, pointing to a sustained rebound that will help power the U.S. expansion. Housing starts climbed by 0.8% last month to a 917,000 annualized pace, the Commerce Department reported today in Washington. Permits NHSPTOT rose 4.6% to a 946,000 rate, the most since June 2008. Advances in residential construction will probably give an even bigger boost to growth this year than in 2012, when it contributed for the first time in 7 years. The gains are rippling through the economy as improving property values help restore consumer confidence and benefit builders such as Rebound Group Incorporated, RYL, and home improvement retailers, offsetting some of the damage from government cutbacks. "We're optimistic about the housing recovery," said Annika Kahn, a senior economist at Wells Fargo Securities LLC in Charlotte, North Carolina, a subsidiary of the largest U.S. mortgage lender and the second-best housing starts forecaster over the past 2 years, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. "We'll continue to see construction pick up. Housing continues to be a bright spot for the economy." Stocks were little changed, following the 2-day slide for the Standard & Poor's 500 index, as investors weighed the housing data against concerns that Europe's debt crisis may intensify. The benchmark gauge rose less than 0.1% to 1,552.24 at 11:12 a.m. in New York. The S&P Super Composite Home Building Index S15 Home, whose 11 members include Ryland, Dr. Horton Incorporated and Lennar Corporation, advanced 1.4%. Elsewhere today, data showed inflation in the UK accelerated in February to the fastest pace in 9 months, and foreign direct investment in China rose for the first time since May. Survey results: the median estimate of 81 economists surveyed by Bloomberg projected U.S. housing starts would rise to a 915,000 pace. Forecasts ranged from 872,000 to 1 million. The prior month's figure was revised to a 910,000 rate from a previously reported 890,000. Building permits increased last month from a 904,000 annual rate in January and compared with a 925,000 median forecast. The higher ratio of permits to start signals home construction will pick up. Related story: strategies for the spring housing scrum. As long as that is outpacing starts, we'll likely see another positive month next month, said Kahn. Housing will continue to add to growth, she said. Residential construction, which includes home improvements, climbed 12.1% in 2012 from the prior year, contributing 0.27% to the 2.2% advance in gross domestic product. Economists at Morgan Stanley in New York estimate it will advance 14% this year. "Many positives. We see a lot of positive signs out there," Larry T. Nicholson, President and Chief Executive Officer at Ryland, a Westlake Village, California-based home builder, said at a March 5 conference. "All the numbers were positives going into the year, and again, we have a favorable outlook for the year." Yesterday, the report showed builder sentiment took a step back in March. The National Association of Home Builders / Wells Fargo Confidence Index dropped 2 points to 44, reflecting concerns about strict lending rules and supply bottlenecks as the industry rebound pushes up raw material costs. Readings below 50 mean more respondents said conditions were poor. The group's gauges of the sales outlook and customer traffic improved, according to the report, while an index of present single-family home sales fell to a 5-month low. Construction of one-family properties climbed 0.5% to a 618,000 rate, the highest since June 2008, from 615,000 the prior month, today's report showed. Work on multifamily residences such as apartment buildings rose 1.4% to an annual rate of 299,000. Regional breakdown for regions showed gains in February starts, led by a 37.5% jump in the Midwest. New construction rose 18.4% in the Northeast. Starts decreased 7.2% in the West and 5.7% in the South. The drop in the South reflected fewer starts of multifamily units. Construction companies began work on 780,600 homes in 2012, a 28.2% increase from 2011 and the third straight annual gain. Even with the yearly improvement, housing starts remain short of the 2.07 million in 2005, the 3-decade high reached at the peak of the boom. As builders enter the spring selling season, the Federal Reserve may be set to extend its record monetary policy stimulus that has helped keep mortgage costs low and allowed for a rebound in housing, the industry that was at the center of the financial crisis. Federal officials, who began the two-day meeting today, have said they will keep their benchmark lending rate near zero as long as unemployment remains above 6.5% and inflation is projected to be no more than 2.5%. They also said during a January meeting they would keep buying $40 billion per month in mortgage bonds and $45 billion in treasuries. Housing is a sector with huge upside potential for GDP and job creation, said Jason Shedker, president of Prestige Economics LLC in Austin, Texas. The upside from housing is probably the only thing that's going to provide tailwinds strong enough to realize the substantial improvement to the labor market that the Federal is hoping for. For those who qualify for home loans, cheaper borrowing costs are attracting buyers. The average rate on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase loan was 3.63% last week, compared with 3.92% a year ago, according to McLean, Virginia-based Freddie Mac. The 30-year rate reached a record low 3.31% in November. Home improvement residential construction gains filter to other parts of the economy as well, from appliance makers such as Whirlpool Corp. WHR, to retailers such as Lowe's Costco and Home Depot Incorporated. HD spending on remodeling in the 12 months through September 30th may climb 20% from a year earlier to $145.5 billion, according to a forecast by Harvard University's Joint Center for Housing Studies. Mooresville, North Carolina-based Lowe's is hiring 9,000 permanent part-time workers this year as it sells more appliances and bathroom fixtures. Lowe's and Atlanta-based Home Depot have improved online services allowing owners to design projects and communicate with employees as work progresses. Homeowners are giving themselves the psychological permission to spend it and feel good about it, Robert McLough, chief executive officer at Lowe's, said on a conference call March 13.